Now, Liberia and the U.S. city of Philadelphia are separated by more than 5,000 miles, but the two are linked by migration. The latest group of African immigrants to Philadelphia wants to create an area that celebrates their contribution to the city. Daniel Henry reports.
This building made the news.
When Vofi Jabete left Liberia in the 90s, he was trying to escape the violence that had divided the country during its civil war. What he didn't know is that his new home in southwest Philadelphia had its own problems.
When we came to Chester Avenue, this place was one of the most dangerous murderous zones in the city of Philadelphia. We used to sit here and we see gunfight on the street. There were high incidents of drug dealings, and there were graffitis everywhere. This is...
African immigrants weren't always welcome here, so Vofi set up a community group to support new arrivals to Philadelphia.
This is the women health.
Vofi says black Americans and African immigrants like him clashed.
I can vividly remember an attack on a pregnant woman who was beaten. Then the second big one was a young boy who had arrived. His name was Jacob Gray. Had arrived as a young immigrant, and he went to school, and because of his accent, he was targeted by African-American youth who followed him while he was on his way home, and beat him very, very severely until he went into a coma.
Why do you think that happened? That tension, you know, what was behind that?
The tension was mainly between African American and African immigrant. I would say that is a lack of cultural identity on the part of the African Americans, who felt that they were Americans and they were not Africans, and they did not embrace the African immigrants that were coming.
But now things have changed. Around 10% of Philadelphia's foreign-born population is African, and they're making their presence felt on one particular street.
So we're heading to Woodland Avenue now, which is where most of the African communities who moved to this part of Philadelphia have set up business, and where this hope of a little Africa, the diaspora village, this is where it's likely to be based.
The people who live and work around here want it to be officially recognised as Africatown Diaspora Village, in the same way that most major cities have a Chinatown or a Little Italy. Fanta Fafana has run her business from Woodland Avenue for 15 years. She's seen a lot of change.
And when they come to Philadelphia, everybody wants to come on Woodland Avenue to eat food in a restaurant, especially La Mandingue restaurant here, or to buy African grocery, because the place is a little Africa, as you can see, especially Liberians. We have a lot of Liberians here, a lot of Guineans, the entire African countries. So we're really doing great here. Everybody trying their best, and I'm happy that the place is taken over by the Africans.
Yeah.
Across the road, Ishmael Donzo is in charge of the Four Seasons Cafe. He says that people come here for more than just the food.
Here is like an intellectual cafe, where you have people coming from all over, coming to interact with one another. So, and then we get together and watch sport, discuss politics. Most of the community center than a business, because whether you buy or not, once you enter the cafe, you are part of the family.
The City of Philadelphia say they're encouraging locals to produce a formal plan for them to consider. Whether it's approved or not, African immigrants have made a huge impact on this part of town that won't be forgotten. Daniel Henry, BBC News, Philadelphia.